Famcast Media, bitch.
Mi gente, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? Welcome to another edition of Must Love Wrestling. This week, I am going live to different places. I got TikTok live right over here, and then I got you guys on YouTube, on Twitch, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. So I'm excited for this show because there's a lot to dive into. Let's jump right into everyone's favorite topic right now, which is Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. It is one of the most polarizing subjects that we can definitely talk about. One of the things that I've noticed about Liv Morgan is people were saying that finally she has produced a worthy promo. She went out there and she showed passion. She showed fire, gusto. Well, I got to say I disagree, guys. I disagree vehemently because listing your resume live on television to me is not a great promo. And that's all she did. She sat there and she told you about her accomplishments, and she told you why she should be the number one contender without actually asking for a title shot. I felt like it was a little bit wonky, and I once again find myself thinking that she needs Dominic Mysterio. Now, I know everybody saw the little purple bandana in her pocket yesterday. How you doing there, Dragon Ball? And I thought to myself, man, that's a great way to do this, because if you have her be the ultimate heel that took everything away from Rhea Ripley, and then you have Dom be the guy who betrays Rhea Ripley, well, that's massive heat all around. She's going to get the heat from all different sides, and that can either help or destroy the Judgment Day. Maybe there's a brand new Judgment Day. Maybe they kick out Damian Priest. Maybe they kick out Finn Balor, because I've been clamoring for a long time for Finn Balor to go babyface. He's just a natural babyface. He's not a great heel. He's just too likable. And I think kayfabe is dead in professional wrestling nowadays. So it's kind of one of those things where we know too much about him outside of pro wrestling. We know that he is a great person. So it's really hard for us to root against him. It's like whenever we see those Gunther videos, the ones where he is saying hello to the children and he's taking photos and he's asking, questions to the little kids. That's great. I love that Gunther's a kind soul. But I don't want to see that shit when I'm watching pro wrestling. I want to see the villain. I want to see the worst version of him. So I feel like Becky Lynch gets just bombarded with hate whenever Liv Morgan is out there. And I find it so odd because no one in the company puts over more talent than Becky Lynch. I mean, she single-handedly took the NXT Women's Championship and put over people like Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria. So I don't get why people hate her so much. And we know that the ultimate goal is to get Liv Morgan to that spot. The idea is for her to beat Liv at King or Queen of the Ring, and then for Liv to just go full-on heel, full-blown heel, unless maybe we do get some microwave booking, and right away, Liv Morgan turns heel right off the bat, and she wins the title. Either way, I feel like people are going to be unhappy, because that's what professional wrestling fans do, is they just become unhappy the moment they get something they want. That's what's happening with Cody Rhodes. That's what happened with Damian Priest. It just doesn't matter. I've even seen detractors for Jey Uso. People complaining, I want him to jump back into tag wrestling. And I don't understand why. He is the most popular babyface in all of professional wrestling right now. It's not even close. I mean, you can say it's Cody Rhodes based off the fact that he's just the American Nightmare, but I don't know. I would say Jey Uso gets the reaction that babyfaces across professional wrestling wish they got. That's something that I'm excited about. I'm excited to see what happens at the King or Queen of the Ring. Are we going to have Jey Uso beat Ilja Dragunov next week? Or are they going to continue to build Dragunov? Because we know that Triple H loves him some Ilja. We know he loves him some of these European wrestlers. I'm excited for what's to come. But I got to tell you, speaking of Ilja Dragunov, Vince Russo had some really, really weird comments about him last week. And I'm just curious what you guys think. Do you honestly believe that he's not money, that he's not going to get over on the main roster? Because he's had 2 matches. And in those 2 matches that he's had, he's already over with professional wrestling fans. He is the talk of the town on Twitter today. If you go check Ilja Dragunov's mentions, you can see how much wrestling fans enjoy watching him. I personally think he's one of the best walking the globe. He's got a different style. It's a mixture of a Dean Malenko, William Regal, and then he has that Dr. Death Steve Williams. And maybe I'm just dropping some old head names. So I would say go back to indie wrestling and just go look through some guys like Chris Hero, Loki, and you can see that he wrestles pretty similarly to those guys. He wrestles snug, but he also doesn't do anything that puts anyone in an uncomfortable position or does any harmfulness to them. I got to say, Vince Russo is just a hater. That's what he wants to do. He's all about just getting the mention. And I guess you could say that I'm a hypocrite because I'm mentioning him here on my podcast. But I will say that for him to just pick out one of the most successful NXT champions in the past 5 years and to say that he's not money. I even saw more where he said, I think he said it today, Ilja Dragunov was put out there with Ricochet because he needed to be out there with somebody that was smaller than him. And I thought to myself, the match that we know Ilja from is the Gunther match. His feud with Gunther is the reason why people love him. It's the style in which he performs. His matches with Trick, his matches with Mello, his match with Braun Breaker. He is going to be a star. He may not be a WWE champion. He may not be a world heavyweight champion, but he could be a great intercontinental champion. He could be a great United States champion. And sometimes I feel like that's good. That's where Sami Zayn is right now, and he's doing really well for himself. I love Sami as the IC champ. He's the working man's champ. We have a Roman Reigns version of a heel with the United States Championship who defends it when he feels like it or when the money's right. And then we have Sami Zayn who's like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to defend it every single week if I need to. That's a brilliant pick. I love that. There was one thing that I wanted to talk about this week that I feel like is being glossed over, and that is the performance of AJ Styles at Backlash, because a lot of us have forgotten just how great AJ Styles is. A lot of us have forgotten just how great he can be with a minimal story. He doesn't need a lot of time to sell you on a match. And I've seen a lot of people say that Cody and AJ was better than Bryan and Ospreay. And I thought to myself, why compare the two? What is the purpose of comparing the two? They're 2 different companies. They're 2 different styles. I really feel like it's the wrestling is a circus thing. I bring it up all the time. It's whatever your preference is. I preferred the AJ to Cody match because there was a lot of great pacing. They let everything breathe. They let the crowd tell them what to do next. And the Bryan and Ospreay match, well, that was more Japanese style. That was more independent wrestling. And that we got the best of that. Now, do I feel like had Ospreay and Bryan worked WWE, that the match would have been as good as it was? No, I don't think so. Because I think just like Jado used to do with Kenny Omega in Japan, where he used to hold him back and didn't let Kenny do everything. He protected Kenny. That's why Kenny was so good as the cleaner. I think that WWE would have held Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson back. But AJ and Cody gave us a spectacular matchup. They went toe-to-toe with each other. They didn't really put themselves in a position to be heated on. But I did see a lot of people that were upset with the burning hammer spot. And I feel like this is what we do in pro wrestling. We have to find that thing to hate. Guys, I don't understand. The match itself was awesome, and Cody's a throwback babyface. Of course he's going to kick out of a big-time move like the Burning Hammer. He's going to give us that spot because he's John Cena, Hulk Hogan. That's who he is. But the one difference that I find so laughably, is the fact that people honestly believe that Cody hasn't been doing this since his re-debut. The moment Cody re-debuted at WrestleMania as the American Nightmare, he has done nothing but provide amazing match after amazing match. To use Sheamus's words, banger after banger after banger. If I look through the Rolodex of Cody's matches, I would say that the worst Cody match that he's had since he's been back was the one with Carmelo Hayes. That's probably the worst match that he's had since he's been back. But everything else he's done has been amazing. You watch the Seth Rollins trilogy, his two matches with Roman Reigns, his main event with Solo Sikoa, his match with Drew McIntyre, everything Cody does, the trilogy with Brock Lesnar. I mean, wow. Cody has not given us a bad performance yet. And it's weird to see people be like, wow, I didn't realize Cody can go. Well, have you not been paying attention for the past 3.5 years? Because this is what Cody's been doing. He's just been absolutely killing it. Anyway, guys, I got to be honest with you. I think that it's one of those things where we are put in the position to where we are only thinking about how can we berate matches? How can we ignore the good stuff? We can't just watch the good stuff anymore. I want to be able to enjoy professional wrestling without jumping on the internet and seeing people completely berate this shit. Like that is just not great. Not great at all. Well, it looks like our live is down. But that's okay. We're on here. I feel like Cody Rhodes is getting unnecessary hate recently. And I just don't get it. Is it because he's not cutting those passionate promos that you know him for? Maybe. I think it's that people got what they wanted, and now they're upset with it. Now they want something new. I saw a creator on TikTok earlier say that he's done with long title reigns. And I thought to myself, why would that be something that you're upset about? Honestly, why would you be upset about long title reigns? We know Rhea was going to go the distance. Roman Reigns' reign was super successful. Gunther's reign was successful. The longest reigning champ right now is Logan Paul. And it seems to be doing fairly well. Guys, sometimes we just need to enjoy professional wrestling just because it's something right in front of us. I wanted to segue over to Sheamus and Gunther because that match yesterday was I can't even come up with the right word. It was just awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And for all of you indie heads, I just want to make it very clear. This is the style match that Kenny Omega loves. So if you're a big fan of Kenny Omega, this is what he loves. If you go back and listen to interviews with Kenny Omega, he'll tell you that one of the things that he misses the most about pro wrestling is what Sheamus did yesterday. The selling. The fact that he, the entire time, worked that knee. He showed you that his knee was completely bashed out. And he couldn't even hit the brogue kick. That is exactly how you're supposed to sell a match, guys. That is exactly how you're supposed to make the other guy look good. And that's what pro wrestling is all about. Sure, you can be happy with what you bring to professional wrestling, But your job is to make the other guy look good. Your job is to protect the other guy. That's what Sheamus and Gunther do for each other. It looks like they beat the crap out of each other, and they probably do. But honestly, it's one of those things where they also produce at such a high level that it's really hard to ignore the storytelling going on in the ring. Absolutely. Now, guys, this is going to be a pretty short podcast today. I don't really have a lot to talk about, but before I jumped into our main event topic, and that's going to be the majority of our podcast, I just wanted to make a statement. I've seen a lot of people on here bashing CM Punk because he made a joke about Jack Perry and it landed on deaf ears yesterday. Guys, nobody knows who the fuck Jack Perry is. Nobody. Only hardcores that watch AEW know who he is. Those people that were live in attendance yesterday, they don't know why he made that reference. For all they know, he was making fun of himself and talking about how he lost to Mickey Gall in the UFC. Why would they cheer that? Nobody knows who Jack Perry is. Nobody cares. It's the dumbest storyline in all of professional wrestling right now. I can care less about a guy who can't cut a promo, still looks like a green boy when he works, and he looks like just a child. He doesn't even look like a grown man. Like, the beard looks fake on him. He almost looks like that episode of That 70s Show when Eric Foreman put on like the fake beard. Like, that's what he looks like. He doesn't even look like that beard is real. Like, it's really his. Anyway, our main event topic of the evening is hyperbole in professional wrestling. Guys, because I've realized that every single premium live event, every single pay-per-view, we witness the best match of the year or the greatest match of all time. And I've just about had enough of it. You can tell when someone watches a match, even like Bryan and Ospreay. And I'm the biggest Bryan Danielson fan you'll ever meet. I've been following this man's career since he was like 19 years old. All right? That was not even the best match in Bryan's career. Like, we're being serious, right? The opening match of WrestleMania 30 is a better match than that. His street fight with Randy Orton on Raw was a better match than that. The one where he got the stinger. Literally every one-on-one match that he's had with Roman Reigns was a better match than that. Now, Will Ospreay, that might have been the best match in his career. Because he's still young. But Bryan has almost 13 more years on him in pro wrestling, working at the highest levels on the indies in Japan, in AEW, in WWE. He's worked all over the world, in Europe. Bryan's match quality, as well as quantity, is at such a high level. Ospreay doesn't touch that. It's become very interesting to watch wrestling fans claim that every single thing that they watch is the best thing ever. And I know that there's not a lot of overlay between wrestling and sports that you see on ESPN or FS1. But there is one guy, and his name's Nick Wright, and this is what he does. This is his shtick. Like, Skip Bayless's shtick was to make fun of LeBron James and make fun of him not being clutch and picking the people, like being the contrarian. That was Skip Bayless's thing. Nick Wright's thing is that he's going to say that everything this person does is the greatest of all time. This is the best in history. I mean, if anybody's watched How I Met Your Mother, there's a game that they played. It's a drinking game making fun of Robin as she was doing the news because she kept saying, but. They would take a shot every single time Robin did it. That's what wrestling fans have become. you can almost watch a professional wrestling match now, and whether it's the Young Bucks versus FTR, or it's Adam Copeland versus Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay, Cody versus AJ Styles, it's the greatest match of the year. That's the match of the year quality. How many matches of the year do you think we have? Do you think we have 365 matches of the year? No, not at all. You think every single match you watch is the greatest match of all time? I don't understand why hyperbole has become the number one thing in pro wrestling with fans, but I feel like hyperbole in 2024 with professional wrestling is more prominent than kayfabe was in the 80s. And that to me is an issue. That to me is a major issue. It's a strange issue. Well, anyway, guys, that has been our podcast for today. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in on TikTok as well as here. Whether you are watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook, X, Instagram, or like I said, TikTok, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. Word of mouth is the best way to get the podcast out there. We are up to 348 subscribers, and I wanted to thank each and every single one of you. I appreciate all of your feedback, even the negative stuff, because I can't get better if I don't know what I need to fix. So anyway, guys, thank you so much, and until next time, I'm out.